Okay, we're going to take a look at another guitar here that has a very, very tall saddle. Go back and look at my old video, or my recent videos, my previous videos, and look at how I dealt with a Martin HD28 that had a very, very tall saddle. And here I am. As you know, I'm a human being. So here, how's this? Is that better? Okay. I'm that guy, by the way. This guy is back again. So we're going to look at this guitar that has a very tall saddle, and I'm going to take a different approach to this one. So I'm going to, on the HD28, I did a reverse neck reset to kick the angle forward, as I described in that video. But I'm not going to do that on this guitar because I've already done it to this guitar a couple of years ago. Instead, there is another problem here. Maybe not a problem. Maybe we're just going to go with a different approach. But I will explain to you why I'm going to do what I'm going to do here, okay? So let's take a look over here at this saddle again. And I'll get my calipers out. And I'm going to measure this saddle. And his action is correct right now. And this saddle is 230. So it's a 1/4 of an inch tall. It's just too tall. It's also a pyramid bridge, as you can see here. And pyramid bridges are cool. Nothing wrong with that. But the problem is there's not much wood right here. So this extremely tall saddle is cracking the bridge right here. And it also introduces a very, very tall, very steep string angle right here. Which is not bad over here. But over at the bass side, it's really steep. So it's causing that whole saddle system to lean forward and the bridge to crack. Now, what I did here, first of all, was someone else tried to glue this up right here. And I don't know if they didn't do a very good job or what. But if you have a crack like this and a tall saddle like this, you have got to really glue that crack with using the super glue and the dust technique. You know, here's the super glue. And you've got to really get that on there, clamp it shut, use a lot of dust. And that saddle has to fit very, very tight. It cannot wobble or rock at all. And I know it's a short saddle. I would glue this in. And when I said glue it in, I mean I would cement that sucker in there. I would use super glue. And I would put that in there and wick that super glue in there and just absolutely concrete the thing in there. If you ever had to take the saddle out for some reason, then you would heat it up and you'd pull it out. Most of the time, you know, you're going to be lowering the action anyways, and you can do that perfectly well from the top of the saddle. So anyway, they didn't glue it in nearly as well as I thought it should be done. So it finally came to me, and I agreed to work on it. So what we decided to do after I looked at it, I measured the bridge here. And first of all, in a pyramid bridge, and I'm hoping the GoPro picks this up. It's hard to tell because it doesn't show me on the back. Pyramid bridges are typically flat across the top. And so what happens is you end up with the middle is less supported than the edge. Again, the edge is pretty good, you know, right there. So we got 145 saddle over here, and we've got 230 on the bass side. So the saddle's like this. It's it's huge over here, 100,000ths of an inch taller, which is a lot on a saddle. Okay, so pyramid bridges tend to be flat on this, and this one's flat all the way across. So the saddle is normally taller, but on a Martin bridge, this would be about 320 to 340 on the bass side and about 280 to 300 on this side. So your bridge is like this. And that makes an even support, a relatively even support across the saddle. When you have it flat like this, you've got this part sticking up, a sharp angle back here again. And those two things in combination just make this saddle lean forward, okay? So what we decided to do after I measured this, I measured the bridge. So I'm measuring the height of the bridge right here. And you can see it's 285. So like I said, a Martin would be 320 to 340, even maybe 360. But let's say it's 340. That is 60 thousandths of an inch. Well, 60 thousandths of an inch more wood right here to support this saddle. So this is 230, and that would leave us with 170 worth of saddle, which would be kind of tall, but it's workable. So what the owner and I decided to do, after talking about it, is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make a new bridge. And because I'm not going to make another pyramid. The pyramid is cool, and I'm going to disrupt the original style of this bridge. I'm sorry. And I'm going to make a regular straight bridge. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I can bring the wood out considerably further here. Let me get a pencil. I can bring the wood, like clear out to here before I start into the curve. So let me get a straight bridge. Let's go over here to my box of bridges, and I think I actually have one. It's probably pretty close for this guitar. So let's dig through my thing of bridges, and I used to have a straight bridge in here. I'm not sure if I still do anymore. I cleaned out a lot of these bridges and I threw some of them away. I'm not seeing it. Darn it. Okay, well anyways, let's get this one out. Here's a Martin. This is off a 72 D18, and this is a belly bridge. So by belly bridge, you know, it's got this belly back here behind it. This is a straight bridge. There's nothing inherently wrong with a straight bridge. Two of my guitars have straight bridges. There's nothing wrong with them. They torque the top a little bit differently, and they're Gibson influenced, and there's no inherent problems with that. But look at the difference here in how much more wood I have here compared to this one. It looks like a tiny amount, but that difference right there and right there could be significant in this case. Plus, there's more wood right here on the actual curve, whereas this one dives down very sharply. So it makes a ledge right here that's weak. So there's basically no wood at all right here. This one's got a lot of wood on this curve. So I'm going to go with a regular straight bridge, and I'm going to curve it like this. And I might even pull this out just a tiny little bit more on this one. Like I want about that much wood on it. And then I'm going to come down into the rings. Okay, so that is a different solution. And also, when I make my bridge, it's going to be curved on the top. So it's going to be more wood on this side. The top is going to be curved to fall away more over here. So it's probably going to end up being about the same height on this treble side. Let's see what the treble side is. There it is. It's 285. So see, the treble side is perfect. And I'm not, and like I said, I mean, that's just about the right amount of saddle to be showing here. It just needs a taller bridge on the bass side. It's the same height. It's flat across the top. So I feel like that's an inherent flaw in the design of a straight pyramid bridge. There's no reason you couldn't have put a little bit of curve on the top of that, except that's not the way it's normally done. But we're going to do it. So we're going to keep probably all the string height is perfect and everything. And we're going to make a new bridge that's going to be just a regular straight bridge, which is really easy to make. And then I'm going to bring those wings out just a little bit more. So there's a little bit more wood up here. And I think we're going to take care of that problem once and for all. And also, because there's just a tiny bit of damage right back here. This bridge has been off before. A little bit of finish damage right there. And under the light, you might be able to see just a little bit right here. I'm probably going to make my bridge just a very tiny bit wider. But I don't know about that. We'll see what I get when I take it off. Because in order to make it wider, I'm going to have to take the finish off back here. And that can pose some risks because when you go to scraping that old finish off, I have had it loosen up backwards. And I don't want that on this guitar at all. So I don't know about making any water, and I'll see what I have when I take it off. I think it's got enough wood here on the front of the bridge. It's got plenty of wood right there. And it also just needs to have its saddle slot cut nicely. This saddle doesn't fit in there really well. I have it really glued in right now because I wanted to check the action and I wanted to see if there's anything else going on in the guitar. So that's what I'm going to do to this. Okay, the second thing about this guitar, the owner complained about it buzzing. And he's got a really high action here. He's got like a 110 thousandths of an action, which is high. I mean, I set it for 93 for my personal guitars. 110 is getting up there. But when I look at this thing, look at the frets here. And again, I hope this is coming up in the camera. You know, I'm having to kind of guess here. These frets are flat topped. And you can see on this one, let's see if we can find a good. No, they've been dressed. And they were not recrowned very well. So they're very, very flat over here on the treble side. Somebody went in here with a file and flattened them off, and then they didn't have enough fret to recrown. Let's go look at some of these frets up here on the fingerboard, because people don't usually mess with these. And that's why I like to leave these in, if I can, so that they're original looking frets, and I can use them as a guide. But see, that's got a nice height and a nice crown to it, as compared to over here. That is totally flat top. And what that means, watch this shadow right there very carefully. And again, I hope we're getting this. And see, that shadow is laying across the entire fret right there. Instead of being in a crown like on this one. This one's going to hit a crown. Hard to see on there. That fret, you can see that shadow if you look very closely. Maybe you can get it on the camera. That shadow is curving across the fret. So that means that string is going to contact right on the top of the fret right there. Whereas over here on these flat ones, see that shadow? It's flat. So when that string contacts with your finger, you've got a flat surface here, and it just moves. And it's going to buzz because of that. You can't stop that string from buzzing. And because this fret is low, you have to press all the way to the fingerboard. Let's get way down here and let's watch this. So I'm contacting the fret, and I mean, that string is almost on the fingerboard, you know? It's actually 30 thousandths of an inch clear because that's how tall the frets are. But you have to press that down to the fingerboard. You can see I'm not even bending the string. I hope you can see that. I'm fretting this all the way to the fingerboard, and that string is barely bending. Whereas up here, let's go up here again. I'm going to fret here, and I can bend that string. Let's make a note. It's going to be hard to do. I need another hand. But if you go down here, that string will slide like that, but it's harder. And I can feel with my finger that I've got more distance. I can bend that string down there, I can bend it. What I was going to show you with the note is I can actually make that note wobble. Let's put the camera up on its stand right here, and let me show you what I'm talking about. I can actually change the pitch of the string by pressing down on it, on the taller frets, and I can't do that on the other ones. Let's see if we can get this on the camera now. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to press straight down. So there's barely contact. Let's set the strobe up, and I'll tell you how much that is doing exactly. Set my strobe tuner up. And we're going to watch this pitch change. Let's get this tuner in this act here, okay? You can watch it. So this note, look how sharp I made it. And I can't do that quite as much down here. I'm going to come back up the neck and do the same thing on one of these flat ones. There's a B, pretty close in tune, okay? So that note's in tune, so you can see it move easier. And that's all the way to the fingerboard. And I barely even changed the pitch. So I'm pressing as hard as I can all the way to the fingerboard. There's no bite. Let's go up the neck and let's do it again up here. Look how much I changed that. Quite a bit, okay? My point of that is that a proper fret, with a proper fret, you ought to be able to press on it hard and actually change the pitch. You don't want to do that, you know, you don't want to press that hard, but that means it's got a good bite. And I cannot get any bite at all on the middle of the neck on this thing. So I'm also going to refret it, and I'm going to put correct size frets in it. These have been filed, so let's get the camera down here again. I'm going to show you this. I'm going to measure the frets right here. And I'm getting right around 30 thousandths of an inch, whereas new frets ought to be about 43 thousandths of an inch. And indeed, up the neck, we have 40 thousandths of an inch. So these frets up here up the neck are 10 thousandths of an inch, or 25% more height up here than there is down here. That 25% makes a difference. So that's part of the problem. That's part of the reason the customer is having a buzzing issue. And I think he's tried to alleviate that by raising the action more and more and more and more, because he thinks this is a fret buzz, and it's really not a fret buzz, because there's plenty of clearance on this next string. So it's really not a fret buzz. Just because you have a buzz doesn't mean that it's because your action's too low. A lot of times it's because the frets are in bad shape and you can't fret them cleanly. So I'm confident that I'm going to be able to clean up a lot of his buzz problems with new frets. And I'm also going to, he told me to set it up where I wanted it. So I'm going to set it up for 96 thousandths of an inch, which is a pretty good action still. I could play that, no problem. And it should be fine, excuse me. It should be fine with new frets. The other thing I checked on this, obviously the first thing I checked was the neck relief, because I was wondering why they filed those frets down so much, you know. These are Evo frets that don't wear out. So I checked the neck relief, and there's a little bit of neck relief. Let's listen for it. Hear that little ping? So I'm getting clearance. Now the neck is very, very flat, which is fine because it's a 12 fret neck. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with a flat neck on there, but it does have relief. The neck is not backbowed. If the neck was backbowed, then you would be getting buzzes up in the first 3 frets because it's hitting a hump up in here, or a rise in the middle of the neck. And that's not the case. You go across the neck here. You got relief. So I suspect somebody got a hold of this and, for whatever reason unknown to me, filed the frets down. That's a problem. So I think I'm going to refret up here to the 12th fret. I'm going to go ahead and the 13th fret. I'm going to replace the 13th. I'm going to leave these frets alone because, my gosh, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 frets up here that I don't have to do. There's nothing wrong with them. This is a 12th fret, and you're just not going to be playing up here, you know. If you were, you'd have a 14 fret guitar where you could play up there. So you're not going to be doing much playing up here. These frets are great. There's no reason to pull anything from here on up. I'm going to pull from here all the way back to here. I'm going to replace them with 43 thousandths of an inch. And then what's going to happen is you're actually going to go 43, 43, and then you're going to drop to 40. So you're going to have a little bit more clearance up here, which is not going to hurt anything. All right, so there we go. That's kind of another approach to a too-tall saddle. And I gave you the cause for that too-tall saddle, a flat bridge that's the same height on the bass side as it is the treble side. That's why you have so much saddle sticking up over on this side, and a lean, and a very, very sharp angle, and it's just a little too sharp, you know. 1/4 of an inch of saddle is just too much saddle to be sticking out. It's causing issues here with it cracking and breaking, so. All right, we're going to take care of that.